2012. We establish a quorum. We have 5 members present. Shirley, would you do the invocation, please?
Pray with me, please. Our gracious and loving Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day of life and for all the blessings that you give us each day. We ask your blessing on this meeting today, and we ask that you help those that sit around the table to make the correct decisions to make Fort Clark a better place to live. We also ask your blessings on our servicemen and women the world over, and we ask that you bless their families. We just thank you for all blessings, and we hope and pray that we will receive the rain, the much needed rain, this weekend. In Jesus' precious name we thank you and we pray. Amen.
Amen. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Announcements and correspondence. Do you have any announcements? Thought we had one.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Dear fellow board members, please excuse my absence from the Fort Clark Springs Association Board of Directors Workshop August 15, 2012. I needed to be at San Antonio Military Medical Center at 7 a.m. Thursday, August 16th for my lab test prior to going to an oncology appointment. Given the importance of these tests to my treatment regime, Bill and I felt it prudent to make the trip early the evening before. Thank you for your consideration of this request. Ms. Keely Pete.
Ms. Peak would like to speak for a minute on her condition.
I just kind of wanted to explain the mask, which is because my white cell counts between each chemo cycle will be so low, I'm subject to infection, and I really have to guard against it, so I apologize for the mask. The other thing I wanted to let everyone know is that when I was appointed to the board a month ago, I did not know I had cancer. Immediately thereafter, pretty immediately thereafter, I got a diagnosis of non-Hodgkin's B-cell lymphoma. Very aggressive growth rate, but very treatable. So have every prospect for maybe even a cure. But anyway, I have told the board that if my absences are excessive or my ability to contribute falls, I will stand down. But I would like to soldier on because I hope to still be able to contribute. Thank you.
Approval of the minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes of the July 21st regular board meeting.
I second.
Any discussion?
Yes. I noticed in reading the minutes, the discussion and consideration of the hunting program for the coming season. There was nowhere in the minutes that it included in the motion that was made that bow hunting would be allowed on the 4th this year.
I believe it does say, and
I thought I
allow
saw that
bow
somewhere.
hunting this year.
It does say it right in it.
Where at? Not in this part.
Discussion consideration, it says allow bow hunting this year.
Oh, I apologize. Reading it too fast. Okay, I apologize.
Any other discussion?
All in favor?
All in favor? Motion carries. 4 people voting. Presentation of the financial report? Statement?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the finance reports as presented to the board for audit.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I have several questions on it. How do we have a negative electric bill for the current month? It's on the income and expense statement for July 30th. We have a negative $7,374.
The only thing I can think of is a lot of things got misallocated, and I think that's going to be showing a credit back to another account. Because when we had to transfer over to TOPS and try to correspond with TOPS system, they had to line item certain things. So I think that's a movement of funds back to its appropriate allocation. I'll double check on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Also, the electricity in the current month was $12,000 on the next page. On maintenance expense, their electricity for the current month was $12,772, but year-to-date was $16,000. They only used $4,000 worth of electricity the previous part of the year.
This was the problem. Back 4 months ago, this is what I found. This is what I found in part of my month here, is that things were not being allocated appropriately where the department should be. And so we're moving all those back into where they appropriately should be put into that budget. So there's going to be a little bit of fixing between now and the closeout of the year because it was misallocated. There was grouping together.
So evidently all the questions I have here are due to that.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, yes.
Because there's quite a disparity between this financial statement and the last one we got.
Yes, sir. And it's because of that sole reason. Because we have about 415 line items, and TOPS couldn't handle it. And so 3 or 4 months ago when they decided to try to go with TOPS, it wouldn't fit. And so the accounting department had to go in and renumber things and lump it into one group, category, that really wasn't true.
And also, this financial statement isn't in the same order that the previous ones had. It doesn't, there's missing columns on them. In the previous ones, we got current month, current budget month, year-to-date, year-to-date budget, year-to-date 2012, and year-to-date 2011. And we don't have, all we've got is year-to-date and current month. We don't have anything to compare it with. The format is different on the,
I didn't change anything. This came straight from Sheila. Do you have any input?
Oh, and then we had budget figures that were not, the budget figures were not correct, particularly in maintenance. And so perhaps she just left that, chose to leave that column off because it wasn't there and it reflected incorrectly on the bottom line.
We can find out. All I know is that it's going to be a mess closing out the books this year. And then this and I did not change personally. For whatever reason that was left off, I will find out and get back with you.
yeah, because we need to reconcile a bunch of these things prior to closing the year out, and we're
Correct.
trading daylight for dark at this point in time.
Correct.
I mean, there's,
Any other questions?
no, there's several things that are gonna be like that, because it shows the motel losing a ton of money when previously it was making money. And the motel has surely had more occupancy recently than previous.
Well, we can all sit down, the 6 of us, and bring in Sheila, and we can have that worked out in an admin briefing. Okay?
All in favor of passing the financial statement as it stands? Three voting, motion passes. Approval of the transfer of funds.
I make a motion that the transfer of funds be approved as presented to the board for paying bills.
I would second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried with 4 members voting. Report of Director of Operations.
Well, first off, I survived 4 weeks. And it has been quite the initiation process. There have been lots of changes, subtle changes, and hopefully more bigger changes to come. Unfortunately, I haven't really got to group together with the board of directors as much as I would like to, but we will change that in the future as well. Some of the bigger things here that we changed is our office hours Monday through Thursday are 8 to 5, and that being because we were kind of going over in budget in our payroll department, and there was really no sense to keep it open until 6 and do overtime. Friday we're open until 8 to 6, and Saturday and Sunday the hours are the same, which are 8 to 1. Dickman Hall will no longer be rented out for special events because it's an unsafe building right now. So that did get removed from our from our list of rental properties. We've had quite a few things happen over the past 4 weeks, and the best that I can gather is there's lots of frustrations in the membership and the board, and it's probably been a long time coming. And unfortunately, I'm kind of feeling the heat of some of these frustrations. And my job here is to be an equal and fair person with everybody that's accounted for. That's the employees, that's the membership, and that's the board of directors. With that being said, I want to everyone work together to make this change. I can't do it alone. The board can't do it by themselves. And unless we stand united, these changes will not happen. That means there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of positive people. There's a lot of rumors. And these rumors have been crippling this place for quite some time now. And the only way to stop this is if we can come together. I'm an open book. I'm open and transparent. And I want anybody to come in, if you've got questions and concerns, to come directly to me. Appointment only. Anyway, that's an inside joke. So, but to come and let's really work these things out. And I will do my best to protect the fort, to protect the membership, and to protect my employees, everybody involved. But unless we communicate face to face and get the real truth, we cannot progress forward. And I want to progress forward. We all love this place, and there's no reason why we can't have that camaraderie again. And I've seen some nasty things these past 4 weeks, and I've seen some lovely things. And I want us to grow. I want us to stop fighting and grow. We can agree to disagree and move forward. That's all I want. With that being said, it's going to take a collective effort. As a membership, we have been spoiled for quite some time. There is not one place in this entire fort that doesn't need some type of change. Not one. So imagine what it's going to take to make those changes. Every department. We don't have a lot of systems put into play that are functional. And one of the things I would like to do, might take us some time, is we need to work more efficiently. In order to work more efficiently, like right now, I think it's probably consensus that we don't like to see certain things not mowed, trash not picked up, whatever it might be. And hopefully moving forward, we can have 1 day trash day, twice a year brush pickup, like normal cities do, in organizations. So if we can do that, consolidate some of that time, our maintenance men can get some of these other things done that have been pressing. Actually, maybe getting back into some of these buildings and helping fix them up and restore them so that we can make money off of them. Yes, it's frustrating when you see that the motel might be losing money. I got a deep dive into these numbers. It's not right. These figures don't look right. I agree. And I'm not denying that. And we're not denying that these things are not right. But we're going to collectively work together as a team and make these things right. So moving forward, some of the positives. The motel revenue was up by $5,700 from last year. This month, or past month of July, it brought in $27,425. RV park brought in $21,243, which is up about $14,500 from last year. We have some great wins, but we have some great expenditures, and we will all talk about this in more depth with the board. Golf course revenue is up about $1,000 over last year. Hopefully you golfers have seen that the course is green. Fairway 10 looks amazing. I think that would probably be a general consensus. And unfortunately, we're going to be losing Don Lee. His last day was yesterday, and he's retiring, but still going to stick around part-time. So in the meantime, I did hire a part-timer who will be able to start on the 1st of September, and she'll be filling in until I can find the right person for the pro shop manager. The pool revenue year-to-date was $11,808. Speaking of the pool, I understand and the board understands we have lots of issues at the pool. These things are not going unnoticed, and there will be some changes at the pool in the following or in the upcoming 3 months. I'm sure we'll be changing some of the times when we close the pool, and we'll be meeting, I think, intensively over the fall period so that we can really make major changes to the pool come spring next year and summer. Membership stats, it doesn't matter. I just tell you this. 7 FRM sold during July, with 64 sold year to date, and several have been sold this month already. Collections, we've collected $9,544 for the month of July, which year total is $54,631. 27 members are set up on payment plans. This varies from month to month because of those who pay in full and others added on. And to expand on that, we have sent out in the past month 33 CCNR violations. We hear your request, we hear your complaints. We're doing our due diligence to get those letters out to the violators, and majority of them have complied. And that's another issue that we've got to look at in the future and take on, is that when somebody's behind on their membership and then their resident is violation of the CCNR rules, if somebody's so far behind and they can't afford to pay your dues, then they can't afford to pay to get their property cleaned up. We have to collectively think of how we're going to fix that. Somebody's so far in the hole they can't even imagine to come out of that hole. So there's a lot of things that we've got to deep dive into and take into consideration. We can only send so many letters, and we can fine them, but if they can't pay, they can't pay. So this is something that we have to go back and look at our CCNR rules and get them up to date with really what's in code with the state laws. This is tip of the iceberg. But do know that we sent out 33 CCNR violations in the month of July and this first half of August. Security report. With the influx of the renters and so forth, we've had some domestic violence cases come up. We've had a lot of stray dogs and picking up of stray animals, animals not being taken care of. So we have a multitude of issues. Security, one of the things that are on the table possibly is getting renter decals on all the vehicles and making sure everybody's up and current with how they should be entering this gate, entering the fort. With that, I think that's enough. I could go on and on. Thank you.
Thank you. He has a question he wants to
I have
ask.
a question about the things we postponed last month, tabled to allow you to have time to look at them and whether you've had time to look at them or not. The gravel at the RV park and the rear bathrooms at the RV park.
The gravel, no, I haven't had a chance to look at. The RV park bathrooms, I had 2 people finally come out yesterday to start the bidding process. Actually, I think it's going to be a lot cheaper than what anyone anticipated, because there's a 3rd room there next to the women's bathroom that already has a concrete floor, a drain in the middle, and currently it houses the water heater, the hot water heater. So you already got the cinder block walls, all we got the drain, all we have to do is finish out the tile, take the hot water heater, put it on lean-to on the back side of the building. So I've got 2 bids coming in probably as of Monday.
Okay.
Next is committee reports. Well, I guess I'll have to wing it because I don't have a list. I know, it's okay.
Architectural.
Yes. I can do that one.
Decide for you?
I can do the architectural first. Is there anybody here from the architectural that would like to give a report? I can see you saying no. Okay, no representation. We'll go on to recreation.
Yes, we do have a report from Recreation. This afternoon at 3, we will have our ice cream social at the Adult Center. The Recreation Department will provide the ice cream, the toppings, the bananas, or everything. We're going to do this kind of as a 50s theme. So we'd like for y'all to come. We've got some good music. And we're going to provide the ice cream, the toppings, and the music, and the facility, and you provide the entertainment. Okay? And some cookies if you like.
That's cute.
So that's going to be a fun time. I hope y'all will be there at 3 at the Adult Center this afternoon. There will be no potluck this month. This is in lieu of the potluck. But we will be back on schedule with potluck next month. And we just thank y'all for your help.
Thank you. Golf?
Well, Mrs. Stevens gave my report, but anyway, we did get thanks to the Men's Association and Friends of the Fort, who prefer not to be named, they got, and 16 guys and 1 lady got sod late a 3 weeks ago, and we are watering it. It looks wonderful. I wanted to give our thanks to maintenance manager, golf manager, Domingo. He's been doing a great job out there, trimming up all the sand traps, and he's been very responsive to the golf committee. Monday, and I think we need some volunteers, but Monday we're going to begin surveying 4 more holes for future remodeling, so to speak, so that we have those plans ready to go when we're finished with number 10. So we'd like you to come out and see it. If you haven't, drive by. It looks great. It's all nice and green. I've been here almost 2 years, and hole 10 has never looked like that. So we're moving and hoping that we'll continue to get everybody's support.
Thank you. Community council?
Community Council met last week. We have begun preliminary planning for Folk Park Days. We're looking for volunteers, as always. I don't think I ever stand up that I don't say I'm looking for volunteers. This is getting to be a real old tune. But we do have some committee heads or division heads in place. We are going to be meeting, Community Council meets, the second Saturday. The following Monday, we will have a Fort Clark Days meeting on a monthly basis for now. When our Winter Texans come back, those meetings may become more frequent, but we have gotten fundraising efforts begun. We have commitments from some of last year's people to do the same job they did the year before. So things are starting to move there. Hopefully, getting an earlier start will make a huge difference in the amount of revenue that we bring in. We also are exploring other activities for community council to become involved in. There is quite a bit of sentiment about going back to work on the adult center interior. I mean, it needs a facelift pretty badly. So perhaps we can direct some of our energies in that direction as well. We invite everybody to come to community council meetings. It is the members' meeting, and if you have something to say, come and say it. That's my report.
Might as well stay out recycling.
Recycling a week ago Thursday was really exciting. We had a rainstorm. And the door to the recycling shed was open and stayed open without any further assistance. Two very unusual occurrences. We sent a load in July. Things have slowed down considerably. Heat or whatever, that we are not collecting as much material as we have been. In view of our landfill costs, I would remind everybody that we all need to recycle. When you do that, we are saving ourselves large sums of money. So if you've got friends, people you know in Brackettville, encourage them to come and recycle. It's for the benefit of everybody here.
Architectural Restoration Group. I can see you looking at me. You don't want to do it, right?
No, that's fine. We, it's pretty well the same as we went last month, only the fact that we got monies in and trying to delegate where we want to start improving on the historical buildings, which is our #1 thing right now. We have to bring them up to code by the end of the year, or start on them anyway, so that the tax can also be met at that point. They are a tax cut because they have the historical markers. This is very important for the board as far as monies go. That's just about it.
Thank you.
Has that, I guess you conveyed that to the Director of Operations, that we have to start that?
I'm sorry?
Is the director?
She's involved with it. She is at every meeting.
So she knows how much we need to appropriate to get going on stuff?
Well, it's our monies. It's the preservation's money that we get from the dollar that comes in from the in-town fund, and also from the Fort Clark Springs Festival.
However, if the buildings are in such a state of disrepair that we'll lose the tax deal, she'll be aware of that, so that if we have to add something to it, we can.
Right.
We'll know about it.
It's just, I don't think it's really anything that's really high dollar. Do you, Lee?
No, I can answer.
It's more or less a facelift.
I can answer that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can answer that question for you, simply because I just awarded some fixings going on. One is behind us, and the
Service fund.
Service Club, and we have a small one on Seminole, and our current project down here is the old butcher block. We had two in question. One was over here at the old restaurant, and the other one is at the Post Theater. But those had to be looked at with both the people across the street and us here, because they were unclear what they were asking. But we got that cleared up, and now I'm just waiting for bid to come back so that we can do that. And we have the funds to do it and to go on to other things, and it has to be done before December, because the new ones will come out and we'll get graded on it. And we don't want to lose that designate that we have.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned about, is we miss the boat and lose the designation.
Yeah, well, it'll work. All right. Let's move on. Discussion.
RV part.
Oh, I did forget that, didn't I? I'm sorry, Shirley.
It wouldn't be left out because I have a good report.
Lay something good on
As
us.
Tony mentioned, we took in $14,514 more than we did last July, and even with the high electric bills and with the water bills being up because of the drought, we showed a profit of $12,964.41 for July. So I was very proud of that. And we had 57 people in the RV park last night. Some of the pipeliners will be leaving at the end of August, but I have three more rigs with the wind generation that will be coming in. So I think I'll stay about the same, which is in the high 50s. If we can do this for another few months, it would be great. one of the pipeliners, Mr. Shane, he's been there about 3 or 4 months, and a very nice gentleman. He donated a brand-new lawnmower, push mower for me this month. Mine was down, and he saw it, and he had one, said he wasn't going to use it, so he just gave it to me. So I was really appreciative of that, and we do thank him. And the Bridge Club met out there this week, and the health tips and Stitch and our Bible study is still going good. So we've been staying very busy. There's lots of kids, lots of dogs, and lots of booze in the RV park. It keeps me very busy, and I really, really enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now moving on, discussion and consideration and approval of the computer system.
Make a motion that,
You want to take that? Take a motion.
I make a motion that we get a presentation and approve the new proposal that's been presented to the board on the computer system. And got it? You should have it.
Should be. Do I have a second? A second. Any discussion?
Before we have discussion, I think we got Mr. Gabler, is that how you pronounce your name? Gabler.
Gabler.
I would like to have a presentation for him before we follow up with discussion.
Mr. Gabler, please.
Hi, I'm David Gabler. I've been looking at your computer system for the last couple of months, working with Camille and Jody, ironing out some of the rough spots to keep it operational while you investigated other options. What I've learned about your system is that you were right. It does need work, and you've investigated the canned option, that is bringing in a system that's already written, and it doesn't meet your needs because you've spent the last 15 years customizing this one to meet your needs, making it work. What I want to stress is that what I've learned about your system is that it does need, it's archaic, not technologically wise. It won't work with the newer hardware and the newer operating systems. We can fix that, and we're not going to be reinventing the wheel. We're not going to be having to completely replace it. We can keep the current system functioning and bring your data forward into the 21st century. So you'll have the same functionality that you have. You'll have the same data that you have, all the history that you've been collecting. And we can wrap security around it to make it more secure. And we can also open up your data. Right now, the only way you have access to your data is through the system itself. And when it's broken, you can't access your data. So one of the things that we need to do is open it up to where you can access your data through third-party applications like Microsoft Excel, and then massage it and make nicer reports, etc. So that's the basic goal, is, like I said, not to reinvent the wheel, not to lose the functionality that you have or the data that you have, but update it and bring it forward into the 21st century.
Thank you, Mr. Gabler. And we got some questions for you, so please don't leave.
All right.
The last gentleman who customized her computer system set it up so that only he could work on it. Nobody else could come in and work on it. And we got proverbial bent over the barrel, so to speak. And my question to you is, if you work on this system and stuff, would anybody be able to work on the system and keep it running, say if you got killed in a car accident? And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Well, here in Texas, I imagine it's probably more likely that I get hit by a train. The answer to your question is yes. All the source code will reside on your system. Anybody will be able to come in and pick up where I left off. I will not own the system. You will own the system. And more to the point, your data will be opened up in a way it's never been opened up before, so that you will have complete control and access of your own data. It'll be transparent.
Any other questions?
On this ongoing cost page, it says Sunbelt Computer Systems. Who is Sunbelt Computer Systems and what do they supply?
They supply the compiler and the runtime. It's the language. I don't know Greg, but I've been working with the language that he's programmed in since 1989. And it's gone through a lot of updates and revisions since 1989. It's been brought into the 21st century. It can do .NET and everything else. He never implemented any of that. It's still character-based. It's still DOS. Well, we can fix that. We can take care of that right away. That's what Sunbelt is. Sunbelt is the language it was written in. Sunbelt PLB.
I have a question. When you're talking about updating the system and bringing it up into the 21st century, are you talking about purchasing like hardware to upgrade it, or is it updating the software, or what is the updating?
You all already purchased new hardware, so there's no hardware
So
involved.
it's just software updates?
Yes. Modifying the code that's in existence. Exactly.
One other question, Mr. Gabriel. In our old system, people that went online to make reservations at the motel and stuff like that were not able to pay online through their credit card and this. Will this system be able to do that?
That's not a specific feature that we discussed, but we can certainly implement web access. I think our priority right now is just to get the functionality back that the old system is losing because it's so old. So that's going to be our number one priority.
And I'm still lost on the Sunbelt. We're still having to pay whoever Sunbelt is $1,400 a year. Is this forevermore? Or?
No, it's a one-time. I'm sorry that wasn't made clear in the paper that I sent. It's a one-time charge of $1,100 for a 10-user license, and then $300 per year after that for maintenance. And that is not required. You can after we update to version 9, or by the version 9.5 with the 10-user license, you don't have to stay on maintenance. You can stay on that version forever, but it's a good idea to stay on maintenance. That way we have access to bug fixes from them and enhancements to the language from them also, which there's going to be quite a few coming up in the near future that I know of.
I still don't get who Sunbelt is and what they supply us, I guess.
The programming, sorry. It's the platform, the runtime, the platform, the 10-user license. That's what they supply.
Any further questions?
Does any more board members have questions for Mr. Gabriel?
How long should this take?
It's a very complex system, and like I said, it's archaic, and it is going to take some time. The good news is that we won't be, like I said, redesigning the wheel. So we're not going to be writing a system on the side here that won't be implemented for a year. We're going to be redesigning and implementing changes to the system as it exists going forward. So there won't be any real waiting period, if you want to call it that, before you see some improvements. But it is going to take some time to redesign everything. It's a big system.
Whoa. Remember the original rule about participation of the audience? I understand that you have a lot of questions, but let's keep it at the right level here, that everybody lifts their hand and is going to ask a question. Please, let's respect the rules that we've established.
Okay, Mr. Gaber, would it be a true statement or a false statement that basically we're working on one section of the computer system that we have now at a time and bringing it up to the 21st century and moving on until we get the whole system updated?
Absolutely, that's a true statement. We're gonna take the parts of the system that are in the most crisis mode before we touch things that are stable and working correctly. So my hope is that we can, within the course of a year, get just about everything with a facelift. So that answers both those questions.
Thank you.
As Carmen said before, any board members have other questions?
My understanding is that the system now is 16-bit, is that right?
Looks to be.
Yeah, and that you're going to convert it to 32,
That's correct.
which is the modern. So really, that reflects an immense amount of work given the the number of characters that are in it, correct? Because all of it has to be...
That's actually the easy part.
Oh, good.
That's actually the easy part. That's a one-time compile, should get it to 32-bit. But then we have to address the complexities in the functionality and the parts that are broken.
Since Huey mentioned 32 bits, and I'm not really a computer expert, but I've heard that we're now the new computer systems are going at 64 bits. Since you're working on the old system, or hopefully be working on the old system, how much of a problem would that be to go from 32 bits to 64 bits?
It's not, but then all your Windows XP computers won't be able to run it. So we want to keep it at 32 bits so it can bridge both worlds. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. That does make sense. And I guess my next question to you would it be wise for the fort in the future to, since most of your outside computer systems that we be communicating with will probably be upgraded to 64 bits, would it be advisable for us to upgrade our hardware?
I really don't see an immediate need for that. Potentially. I mean, if you're going to be talking with outside computers, it's all going to be over the internet, and really the bits don't matter there.
You answered my next question. Okay, for further discussion, that's all the questions I have for you, Mr. Guerin. I appreciate your input, and a lot of it I didn't understand, but I sure appreciate it. The reason we're bringing the computer system up is because basically Camille Dela Cruz and has been working with the top system and trying to make it work for air system or in-air system. And their software was not written for the complexity of air organization. And the cost for TOPS would basically come out, getting our money back, would come out less than what we're paying if we vote to bring Mr. Gabler aboard and have him rewrite our system. It would come out less. In the long run, we never owned TOPS software, and where we would own our own system. And if you look at the amount of money that wants to charge us for using their software over a period of years, the amount of money would be astronomical. And that's all I have to say on the top system. Has anybody else got anything you want to say?
I would like to ask that Hattie be recognized. She's had her hand up for a long time.
I was waiting until this was down the board. That's what his original question was. Patty, you have a question?
My question is, since when TOPS was installed and screwed up all of the computers in the office, most of the data that is important to us, the financial data, the membership data, do we have a hard copy printout of what was on the old system? Whenever you switch software packages, there are always a great many errors that occur. This is typical with switching from one software to another. If you do not have a beginning point from the old system to the new system, then a lot of the financial data or the membership data is going to be lost. Do we have a starting point?
I think what you're asking, Hattie, is do we have a backup system that would preserve the information that we have in
No,
it?
that's not what I'm
I'm going to ask Ms. Dela Cruz to try to answer that question because I don't think the board members can answer it.
You asked if there's an actually printed out hard copy of all of our data. The answer to that is no, and that wouldn't be helpful because it's better to take the data, back it up either on a separate hard drive that can, okay, and you had mentioned that with the starting point, well, the beauty of going with our system is it's still there and we can run concurrently what Mr. Gaylor's doing to optimize it and continue to have our data going. But the immediate need to get the computer updated before, we were worried about losing our data, we didn't have access to our programmer, we won't have to experience that anymore. And if the data's there, it's backed up on a new server now, it can only be read on older systems at this point, but it's there, so it'll never go away, and I don't believe we have any fear of losing it, because we have backed it up. And there was a time when we were backing it up every day, because we were really walking on eggshells and worried. So a good question, because everybody would hold their breath in the office, and so we've got it backed up.
A backup is really vital.
Yes, ma'am.
However, if you don't have a software that can read the backup, it is useless.
But it's code, it can be recreated, just like Mr. Gaylor has a way to read our data on his computer. Because it's a program, it's not just numbers and hard data, it's information spilled into a way we can read it. So I don't know that, if I'm conveying that properly, it's not going to be lost forever. There's just not a theory. Does that help? We do have backup processes. We won't use the data.
Like I say,
Thank-
backups are vital,
We have.
but if our new system can't read the backup is useless.
I understand. Well,
Jen,
actually,
well, no,
we have
she just got done explaining that.
The new one and the old one at the same time, so no fear.
I think the question has been answered that a program can be written to retrieve any data that you feel that might be lost, and that we're going to move on with the discussion at this time.
How is the,
Please, non-argumentative. Are these computers on the same internet that our employees are playing Facebook on in the in-between, which compromises firewall accessibility?
The network is one network. Everybody's using the internet.
Wrap the hammer down.
Yes, but they're not accessing the data, and that's another reason we couldn't use.
It's called a backdoor.
Well, if we have any people that can do what David can do, we wouldn't have to call David. I would believe there's anyone on board that can create this.
I know about a dozen right
Yeah,
now.
you better take
Camille.
existing software
Camille, do we,
and knock the hammer down.
Thank you, that was a great
Yeah.
question.
Can we can we get back to the issue at hand here? You answered the question over there, I appreciate that. What I'd like to do is go back to the board issue here.
Software that we can buy.
And is there any more discussion, gentlemen?
Yeah, I wondered what kind of accounting system we have now in the existing computer systems, because in your paper here, you mentioned about QuickBooks. Is that something we'll have to buy to use run our accounting system in QuickBooks now, or export files to it to look at data, or?
No, sir. QuickBooks is one of the things that I was going to look at if we could or should integrate with your current system. But your current system is a complete accounting package. You don't need it. No.
Any other questions? Good. We have a vote on this?
Could we restate the motion, please?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we do not use tops and that we go with Mr. Gabler to correct our computer system and bring it into the 21st century.
Do I have a second? We have a second. All those in favor? This is what happened. I am too. Yes, 4 members voting, 1 abstaining. All right, let's move on.
Do we still owe tops $22,000?
No, we have a way out of that in the contract. Do you have a red tops contract?
I've never seen tops contract.
I'll be glad to show you the copy of it. We do have an out clause in it. And,
So we don't have to incur any more expenses with tops at this
We're
point
not
in
even
time?
paying them now.
no, we will, and we hope to recoup some. Discussion.
Recruit that money back from top?
We'll see what clause 9 will let us do in the contract. Discussion, consideration, fees for renters, facility usage.
I'll make a motion that we start charging renters a fee for facility usage, either by attaching it to the owner's assessments or having the owner make them pay us, or have the renters make them pay us. Discussion?
Do we have I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second for the purposes of discussion.
Right. Now, do we have a discussion on this, please?
Would someone please explain to me what a rental privilege card entails? What is it?
Right now, the renters go down there and use their pool, and they got assessed to facilities, and in the past, it used to be that the owner transferred his membership to the renter so that they could use the facilities, and they paid. I would assume they paid the assessments. At this time, since I haven't really done a lot of research on that, but Miss Debbie Isaac, who's sitting in the audience, has, I would like to have her come up and give a comment on that. And can I do that?
Let Jody do it.
Oh, well, anyway, Debbie was doing into this before she resigned from the board. And what it amounts to is we're losing revenue of in the equivalent of about $30,000 a year. I think the board needs to take and look at this under Administrative Advisory Committee and find out how we can fix this problem so that we're getting revenues from the renter and they're not using their facilities for free. And that's, the motion should be that we look into this problem through an Administrative Advisory Committee and find out what would be the viable solution to this problem.
Are you rescinding the first motion?
That's what I was.
Yeah, I'll rescind the first motion. I'm sorry. I'll get you so confused. I'll get myself confused. But anyway, it's a problem that has been ongoing, and I think that a board, director, administrative advisory committee should meet and see if we can come up with a viable solution to present at our next board meeting to take care of this problem. It looks like with all the oil field workers and windmill workers that we're going to have, this is an ongoing situation.
Do I have a second on this revised motion?
I'll second it. But I'd like to keep the discussion open.
Yeah.
Open after.
Open.
In the notes here, it says this monthly surcharge was increased a couple of times until the program was discontinued in the mid-1990s. It was discontinued because it had become a real problem to keep up with, and the fact that not all renters were interested in the program. Have those two negatives changed? Will it be less of a problem to keep up with?
To be honest, I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say that basically that problem was a administrative type problem for collecting, and that problem should be able to be taken care of in the fact that that it should be paid to the either collection office or to Nancy Farragut's office.
Yes.
Jody, would you respond on that? I think it also would entail the new computer system coming aboard would help keep a better trail on something like this if it was in effect.
Yes, that could be worked into the process. The reason it's kind of made it back into the discussion is I think you brought it up to me last board meeting. So I was just kind of open up the discussion. I don't know what the right or wrong answer is on this. It's just, I wanted to bring to the forefront, and there's going to be a lot of quirks that need to be worked out. What we're challenged here with is that for whatever reason, it seems there's a disconnect between the renters and what our policies and rules are, and it seems to be a little bit more of a burden than it has been in the past because of the influx of population coming in. And then at the same time, are they kind of treated like second-class citizens because they can only go to and from their house? So this is going to be pushed back on everybody here to decide what's going to be the fair manner to go with. And then it does bring in some extra revenue when they're having to pay for something. Maybe they'll take a little bit more responsibility and respect of our facilities and what our rules and regulations are. So with that being said, it just needs to be an open, fair discussion. As far as putting it back into play, whatever system we were to come up with, if we do make a motion to move forward on it, yes, we can gear something to make this a little bit more easily streamlined. Currently in our system, it's a process. What people don't know, to get to one certain report, you got to go through about 29 different enter 29 times just to get one answer. So.
Yeah, I think what I had meant before was essentially any renter had to pay an extra small fee to have full membership of the fort, and we would gather some income, and then the renter wouldn't have to be a second-class citizen. That was
Well,
my intent, I think.
and that's the reason I rescinded my motion to say it should be addressed under administrative advisory committee, and that the board and the director of operations, we sit down and work it out. And you're right, we shouldn't make them second-class citizens just because they're staying here and working in the general area. They're benefiting us by their financial support when they rent from us, and also the owners of the property. And if they got kids and stuff like that, I don't want to withhold them from using the pool and stuff. And you're right Roby, that it needs to be addressed. But I think it needs to be done in an administrative advisory committee.
Hattie, no, everybody put your hand down, please. I'm just gonna say this one more time. we've established something that I did back a month or so ago, that we do not raise our hands during the course of things. If you have things that come up, you want to talk about it at the end. So I'm going to continue with that ruling that I made back then. I understand that you're in the same boat that we're talking about, but right now we're looking at just tabling this and bringing it out to the Administrative Advisory Committee to bring it back at another time and look at it. And that's where it stands now. Do I have a vote to table this particular? You've already gone through.
I think my motion was to refer it to an Administrative Advisory Committee.
Right, but that's us, right?
No, I mean, I rescinded my original one and made the motion that we bring this issue up into a Administrative Advisory Committee with Jody working with the board, and that was the discussion.
Okay.
So I don't want to rescind that. I think it needs to be worked on. It doesn't need to be tabled for another month.
Okay, that's the way you work. Right.
You agree, Rob?
Could I have a vote on that then?
It needs to be worked on.
That we do that?
Right.
All in favor? 4 members voting. Boy, that was a hot one. Next item is approval of the insurance package for 2/12/213.
I'll make a motion that we approve the insurance package as presented to the board members for proper insurance of our buildings and liabilities that we incurred during the year.
I'd second that.
Any discussion?
Yes, for the membership's knowledge, during the years, last 3 years, our liability to the insurance companies have went up quite a bit, and we paid out, or they've paid out over $600,000, and in that process, and we had a lawsuit with Mr. Cerna, and in that process, the insurance companies that we had last year and the year before did not want to reissue insurance from their company. So what our insurance broker did was get a hold of other companies and came up with a package that give us coverage, but it's going to amount to basically $12,000, about $12,000 some odd dollars difference, and from looking at how much money we've cost the insurance companies in the past, and most of you people that buy homeowners insurance know if you make a lot of claims to them, they raise the price of your insurance, and that's exactly what happened to us. And so I make a motion that we approve the package that's presented to us and try to take steps to cut down our liability.
I have a concern, which is on the commercial property. We're now accepting more wind and hail loss ourselves, as I understand it. But has anyone looked at the policy and really seen what that amounts to? It's opaque to me here. Since hail has driven so many of our claims in the past 5 years, it's a concern to me that we're downgrading, if I understand this correctly, downgrading our hail coverage.
The only, go ahead, Robbie.
I understood that as well, and I didn't see the amount of deductible. We're going to have to raise our deductible. We raised our deductible again, didn't we? And I didn't see exactly how much. I missed it. And then he suggested that we start a rainy day fund to allow for higher deductibles in the future, did he not?
Yes, he did.
You know, what, go ahead, Jody, answer his, and then I'll.
I'm sorry that you guys missed that presentation, the ones that weren't able to attend, because he went in much deeper depth and explanation. Yes, in order to, and I'll go ahead and tell you guys that weren't there, because of the 2 claims of the hail damage that we experienced within a 5-year time span, that really raised our risk. And it really made us look not so good to the rest of the insurance companies that he had to shop around for. He shopped 30 different insurance companies, and out of the 30, 1 would take us on for hail damage. So you gotta give. We only got an 8.2% increase from our last year's policy amount. In order to get that 1, of course, we had to be able to buy in and pay a higher deductible to get this lower rate, this monthly rate. Does that answer your question a little bit?
How much did the deductible go up, I guess?
I gotta get back into we can look in my office. And if I don't have it there, then we can contact Warren and get,
I thought it would.
Well, I guess I just wondered, it says we accept more exposure for wind and hail. I just wondered how much that was, whether that was all through the deductible process or...
He was telling us that insurance agencies have gotten this software where they now can sit there and plug in certain numbers and see what areas of the United States are more prone and at what rate of risk and whatnot. So they're getting a little bit more heavy-handed on what they want, requirements of what they want. So they were able to plug all that data in, and what we're averaging now is a hailstorm, a major hailstorm that's causing roof damage every 5 years. That's what they came up with.
And pretty much, we only had 1 company that would insure us at any price, and we had to meet their bottom line.
Yes.
So
We didn't have much of a choice.
If we don't like this proposal, we don't have another one.
Right.
That's right.
And then the insurance rates will continue to go up because our buildings are historical, so every year it's going to be a little bit more money if we have to repair certain things.
Did he in his risk assessment deal have any thoughts about how we could lower the risk? I mean,
Put metal roofs on, hold up umbrellas. No, there's not really much we can do. Just hope that, God willing, doesn't have major hailstorms in the next 5 years so that we can have a chance to maybe get more quotes in 5 years. Better quotes than not just 1. So we just have to pray no hail. But no, unless you put metal roofs on our buildings, this is what we have.
It was kind of like the statement in the meeting last year, and Janelle was present at the meeting with Mr. Porter and the Porter agent last year. Last year, the company we was with last year had if there was a significant hurricane in the area, the price of our insurance would go up from the quote that they give us. And so there wasn't one in the area, but there was one forming. And so before that was named, we were told that, if we didn't accept the insurance policy they presented to us last year, and a hurricane was named prior to the net quote that they give us would not be viable. And so it's a game that the insurance companies play, and God help the homeowners and the business people that have to deal with them.
I found your deductible. It's $50,000 per occurrence. Last year's deductible was $25,000. So this year it's $50,000 deductible.
and our loss history in the last 5 years are 1.2 million plus change, right?
Okay, so 50,000 per occurrence?
That's,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, what that amounts to, Keely, is that we pay 10,000 deductible per each building, and that's how they came up with that.
Thank you.
You have to realize that our last hail damage, I think, our last In 2011, their last hail damage was $616,980 cost to the insurance company. So yeah, they're praying that, you know, we're praying we don't have a hailstorm.
I have one other quick comment, and this is somewhat tangential, but I noticed that in the property schedule that was part of this presentation, that some of the properties are described as frame, and when I look at them, they're natural stone. And I don't understand the difference perhaps between what is called masonry by an insurer, but to me, Dickman Hall is a natural stone building. It's not a frame structure.
No, it's...
And the only reason that was concerning to me, because if I know as a homeowner, we had to work very hard to describe our home properly so that if we had a loss, they wouldn't come back on us and say, this was misrepresented. Just throwing it out there as, you know, noticing what I see as perhaps a discrepancy.
I can take a look with that before next week when I speak with him, but he has been with us for quite some time, 15 years plus, and he's done his due diligence. He really knows this place inside and out.
Yes, it is probably the case that I don't understand the way they apply the terminology.
And I can, when he comes back, or I can get him on the phone with you and or any of the board members who want to partake, and he can explain how he came up to that, with that conclusion.
Or he can simply tell you and you can relate it, since I'll probably be in hospital.
And some of the buildings may be a frame structure with stone veneer on them, so the stone
Yeah,
is
that's,
for...
yeah. That's probably my failure to understand the terminology.
That's why I said not entirely.
Any
Any
more?
other questions?
No.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. I have a vote. All in favor? Motion carries. 4 members voting. Okay, next item is approval, purchase of feed and feeders for the deer hunt.
I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of feed and feeders for the deer hunt. At this time, I would ask our DO, Ms. Stevens, how much money she thinks we need to approve. I didn't see it on the
On
package.
page 13.
Oh,
It's
36
missing.
It's missing?
30,
Oh no, is it really missing?
Page 13,
Yes, I do.
I don't.
who doesn't have a page 13?
Keep flipping.
I wound up with an extra.
Oh.
Oh, that's mine.
Okay. You got 13?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
grand total, all right,
It's a grand total of $3,695 estimated. We want to develop the 400 acres to be able to put more hunting over there so we get away from our residentials as much as possible. An approximate number for the water troughs are $80. I was told that we had 15 pop-up blinds. We really only have 9. So we need a few more blinds at $80 to $90 each, just to get started. And the big number is going ahead and locking in the price of the deer corn now and ordering in bulk, so we don't have to go drive around trying to find the best prices when we're in the height of the deer season. So approximate 300 bags, 50-pound bags of deer corn to get started. And then also 3 automatic feeders to get started as well.
go ahead, Robbie.
And to get started, is there any anticipated cost, total cost of the whole project?
Last year you spent $7,000. $7,100 is what we spent last year. I don't foresee exceeding that, or I would really, maybe $5,000 would be a maximum. As this deer hunt goes along, I would like to take money as money comes in and maybe get a few more blinds, a few more feeders.
And it would appear that they're the smallest price. The corn is 300 pounds. How long will that last through the feeders? Will we have to buy a lot more corn? Or?
Last year you spent $3,000 on corn, anywhere from $10 to $10.50 a bag. Right now I got it locked in at $9.25 a bag and delivery. And that's where that price comes in of $2,845.
Right, but how much did they use? 300 pound, 300.
They used approximately around $275.
Okay, so essentially that's the corn for the whole year.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Right.
And your automatic feeders hold 50 gallons of feed, and that should last you 3 months on the automatic feeders. And then we'll save on gas. You had a big fuel cost last year because of the driving around and whatnot. I'm trying to do as much internally as we possibly can with our own staff.
So I mean, a lot of the cost last year was from fuel costs, if I'm right.
Fuel, high price of feed, driving around and getting it, and instead of having it in bulk to start with.
Excuse me. I run the hunt last year, and we used approximately 3 tons of corn. That come out to probably $2,500 to $3,000.
That's what I have here, Sammy, and you paid a higher rate of it, and I'm trying to reduce that cost.
But if we don't get it all in bulk now, the corn prices is
Gonna skyrocket.
Skyrocket if we don't
Set him
get it in
down.
bulk now.
Okay.
So anyway, the motion is to approve the cost for running the deer hunt and buying blinds, and the total cost as presented to the board is $3,695.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor? 2, 3, 4. Good. Motion passes. Next item here is the approval of the purchase of motel supplies. Now, before we even go for a motion, I'm going to ask Jody to just explain this. I know what it's all about, but just explain it, why it's here on this.
The reason the motel supply approval for an estimated $1,800 is because it wasn't a daily expense that I could approve. And per my contract, anything over $1,000 that's not a ongoing expense, I had to bring to the board. So with that being said, that's why this is coming across your plate. It wasn't budgeted for on a yearly budget, so this is something that they apparently do order yearly, and that's why I'm bringing it to the board to get approval for the $1,800, because it exceeded my approval number.
At one point before I ask for a motion here, this is just one item that reared up like this that shows us the fact that we are not budgeting correctly, so that we know what's needed, where it's needed, and it gets approved ahead of time when the whole budget's approved. So when it comes up for payment, it's not a stopgap. It doesn't fall in her lap. It just goes through the process. Having said that, I look for a motion here.
I'll make a motion that we approve the $1,800 to buy motel supplies so that we're able to keep our motel rooms and stuff and laundry up to date or clean.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes. 4 members voting. Okay, this next item here, appoint a board representative to the Preservation Committee.
How many?
Okay, this one falls into actually the Preservation and Restoration Committee. When Debbie resigned, that left an opening for a board member, because we have 2 board members, and we have 2 community council members, and we have members from everywhere that are on this. But this is the only part that is taken by the board as far as appointing someone. Now, having said that, I got Keely, I got Ralph, and I got Garland. They all have 8 months left, and it's one of you people that have to fill this slot for 8 months.
Well, I don't know what day of the week they meet on, but
It's a Wednesday.
it's a Wednesday, and I'm not
It's at 5:30.
and I'm not taking away from Miss Keely over there, but I would volunteer to sit on that for 8 months. I don't know. We don't know whether your treatment would interfere with the meetings or anything. Is the reason I'm saying that. Otherwise, I'd be more than happy to let you do that.
Well, I will have challenges with attendance for the next about 3 months. Beyond that, I don't think I will. But yes, there will be some absences. My interest in serving on this committee is because one of the challenges facing the committee is the flow, the drainage around the commissary. Anyone who knows where I live, which is downhill from the commissary, I have a vested interest in how that is handled, quite honestly, because it could end up in my front door if it's not handled properly. We have drainage problems at the house already. So that was my...
That was your reason, and I totally agree. I've seen some of the drainage problem that they have over at the commissary building, and if Robbie would take, once he gets home, and of course it's after dark, but if he'd go with me, I think that we could probably come up with a solution that would fix that problem, so it goes into the drainage ditch over by the the horseless saddle statue, because that's a big drainage ditch, and we should be able to take care of that problem. Not saying it'll be an easy fix, but that's where I would want to divert the water.
Just one comment on that. It's a good idea, but it also, you got to entail the idea that you're taking it away from the building because it's doing damage to the building.
Well, that's true. That's right.
All right. So is everybody agreeable that we lay this burden on this young gentleman down here?
All right, so that I'll have to get with you to find out what nights.
Can I have a motion, please, on those lines?
I make a motion that Garland Young be appointed to the Restoration and Preservation Committee.
Do I have a second?
Second that.
All in favor? So be it. Appointment of the Board of Representatives to the Architectural Committee. I know this was put on here because Roby was supposed to be doing this originally, and his job, he's kind of busy, he's not here during the day. So we needed somebody else to visit that committee, and I did it on the last meeting. And I could probably make most of the meetings that are coming up.
I wouldn't mind doing that once a month. What my suggestion or my motion would be that we know that Robbie is working hard and putting in basically about 100 hours a week, and so he's not going to have time to fulfill that obligation. But I make a motion that each one of the remaining board members take and do one Tuesday a month at the Architectural Committee, and that way we always have a board representative, and in that way if something comes up and you or her or she or he or them cannot make it, they can call the board meeting and say, would you do this, and I'll take it next week. And that would be my motion, that the remaining four take it one Tuesday a week or a month.
Excuse me, what Tuesday of the month does it meet?
Every Tuesday.
Every
Tuesday. That's the reason I made a suggestion that we do it.
That we rotate.
Rotate.
Oh, wow, okay.
So that's my motion that we,
Do I have a second?
I second that.
All in favor? I'll have to vote too, I guess, because I'm going to be in it. Next item, discussion, consideration, hallway behind Patton Hall, hotel water heater. This item here needs to be taken very seriously.
Could I interject something in here prior to that discussion? Now, I was looking back on our budgets, and we had $14,000 appropriated for motel replacement items. Is that not, is that like lamps, or is that towels and linens? Or does that not even fit?
Or is that a make-believe budget?
Right.
Right.
What did you say?
He said it wasn't a make-believe budget, so
Is it a real thing, or is it just a figure?
You mean from last year?
Yeah.
This is where we would have to go into, these are part of the things that we need to discuss in an admin briefing, because it gets really deep.
All right,
Okay.
now back to the motel. As you can see in your package, you have pictures of it's just a little alleyway. And in that little alleyway, we have 2 80-gallon hot water heaters that are run by electricity. And the building's right over here, and there's a small alleyway, doorway. The gentleman brought the building. A lot of the section that he hasn't converted over yet is right there, and when the wall goes up, we're going to have about that wide. And if one of these things go or spill over, it's going to go right into his property. That's the first part of the problem. The second part of the problem is you can look at these pictures that you see in here. It's a very shoddy setup, the way it's constructed. There was no allowance put in for any overflow, which should normally be on the top, take water away in case one of the valves, decides to pop its cork, and out goes the water. There's 80 gallons going all over the place. So what we're looking towards is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is moving them outside in between those 2 buildings out there. There's a segment, and put a pad out there and move everything over. There's a crawl space under this place. I haven't got the foggiest idea how you get into it. I've looked it around. I don't see how you get into it, but it must be a way, because they did at one time. And all the wiring comes through and comes out in the alleyway on the back of the motel building. And you can see these 2 lines that connect to the hot water heater going in the wall, and then they come out the wall outside and hook into the electrical box. The whole thing is a major violation type situation, just waiting for something to happen. So
you want a motion?
Haven't said that.
Well, we need a motion so we can discuss it.
Right.
I would like to make a motion that we do a study of the water heaters in the hallway behind Patton Hall that is connected to this gentleman's property that he bought, and that we find out the cost for moving the water heaters out to a concrete pad. Now, it sounds easy, but you're talking about you got to pour a pad, change the plumbing, change the wiring, and hire a professional to do a professional job. It's not going to be something your guys can cover. So we need an estimate on that. I would also like to say that we need a bid on the cost of putting in an on-demand hot water system, because it would incur less plumbing problems, and the electricity has already been bought there. So we need to check both entities of what we want to do. It may be cheaper to put an big on-demand hot water heater, or on-demand hot water system, and in the long run, that's going to save us money, because we're not heating that 80 gallon of water to keep it hot all the time. But I think we need to look at both options, before we make a decision, and that's my motion, that we get a bid on how much it's gonna cost to move these 2 water tanks, and we get a bid on how much it would cost to put a on-demand hot water heater and see which one would be the most viable option. Thank you. Do you agree, Robbie?
No, the on-demand won't work here without a lot of, I don't see that on-demand would work at all, because you gotta recirculate to have hot water in each room. On-demand would only work when you
turn your hot water on.
right, but if you turn the hot water on in the last room down there, you'd have to wait 2 hours to get hot water.
No,
No, I don't think
it's
so.
faster than that. I have it in my house.
I worked at a Oregon State or a campground run by the Forest Service that had an on-demand hot water system, and the only difference is theirs was run by gas, and we don't want to mess with that. But each shower, and that was one of the problems that they thought they had, but they tested it and stuff, and yeah, you had a little bit of cold water, just like you'd have cold water in the wintertime when you turn the hot water on and wait for your hot water to get from your hot water heater to your house. I think the water pressure is a little bit greater than that in your motel system, but that's something that needs to be checked out by a professional that installs on-demand hot water heaters and tell us whether it's viable or not. That's all I'm asking, to find out which option is viable. We just can't go do something without we got 2 different options, and we need to know which one's going to be the right one, because both of them are going to be costly.
I'll second that. I was just going to ask that, did everybody understand what his motion was?
I shortened your motion a little bit, sir.
Yeah.
What was the
Now, I move to have a study done of the area behind Patton Hall, get costs for moving the hot water heater to an outside area on the slab, and also acquire a bid for on-demand water heaters as opposed to the recirculating type we have now.
and when we compare it to, right, okay.
That's not exactly what you said, but I think.
Yeah, you got the gist of it, thank you.
Okay, and I have a second? You have a second. Second. All in favor? Motion passes, 4 members voting. All right. Now, let's see what we have on the list.
No. You sure it is. There's a reason we're saying that. I'm talking.
Yes, one that
You want to move it out the door, and there's a long way from outside to the steps and get to
this doorway, there's one on each side, and it's just the hallway, it's so big on the door.
we can move it, and half of the steps is over this property.
All right. We got a member discussion coming up. First person on the list is Shelley.
Person features.
I think my question was answered actually by Roby and Jody. I had some concerns on this back in the statement every month is profit and loss. Your columns are so inaccurate that there's no way the membership can get any kind of clear view of what's going on. At least I think there are. You're showing the under administrative expense this month, $800,100 budget year to date. And you're showing year-to-date expense of $979, which means we're already over budget of $979,000. I don't think that's right. You have the same thing under administration. So I just don't feel like anybody can take the total and find out what's going on in court because the figures are so.
I would agree.
And I think prior to printing something that's given out to the membership, it should be accurate. Or don't print it.
I agree.
What you're getting is not right, why would you want it?
Something printed is better than nothing.
No, it isn't.
Then we can discuss it.
No, it is not.
All right, all right.
So in order to answer your question, the bottom dollars are accurate. Now, the budget was inputted wrong back last year in 2011. And then, but your bottom dollar and the amount of money that it shows, those are correct. Now, how we got to those numbers, the way it shows up in that budget, the way it was put in, is not correct. You're right. Yes, these are things that I have to really make right for 2013 budget. Okay?
The other thing is the RV park. I just want to encourage that to be going on with. I've gotten phone calls from people on the gravel. They're coming in. It was voted 3 months ago, that it finished by November.
I can't hear you. Please speak into the microphone.
The RV park. It was voted 3 months ago to have it finished in November. It was approved by this board. Roby made the motion.
What are you talking about, the gravel or what?
The gravel.
The gravel. The gravel.
Yes.
Well, Jody wasn't here when that motion was passed.
No,
but
I'm not putting it off on Jody. I'm well aware of that.
all right, well, let me finish. I'm trying to answer you. Robbie went out and did a real good study on the elevations and stuff like that, and presented it to the board for doing the gravel. In the interim, the RV park has filled up with RVers or workers and stuff like that. Now, it's pretty hard to put gravel out there where they're sitting.
Well, it's even harder when you haven't done anything to get it.
Well, Robbie went and did the study so we wouldn't just take it and do something without doing it properly. He came up with a real good proposal, and at least I agree with it, that it needs to be done. But in the process, we had all them people move in, and so you can't do it while you got people sitting out there. I mean, if we could, we would. But you just can't. We got too many people out there to have them all move in and put gravel in there. Unless somebody can come up with a real good solution to do that, I don't know how to say, well, unhook and you can't have supper tonight. You won't have it for a couple of days till we get this gravel put out. Move you around. Now you won't have the hookups that you had now. What I'm saying is the logistics of doing it right at this present time. Now, I don't know when all these people are leaving or if they are all leaving. And sure, we could answer that. But that's what came about. It wasn't that we didn't want to do it. It wasn't that it wasn't approved. What happened is it was kind of like a hive of honeybees moved in on us, and until we get the proper, and I'm using it now, if we get the proper beekeeper, we're not going to be able to do anything till we can find out how to do it.
Thank you.
Now let's back up on, did you guys approve a dollar amount, or you just approved to get bids on the best
We
solution?
approved to get bids on it, I think.
Okay.
That's all I
And to get
remember.
it done by November, that's in the minutes, asked you now.
Maybe, but it never
That
got
it
to
be
bid.
done by November, Roby put it in there.
I think.
I'm asking, I don't
I
know.
thought we approved Highway 90 West to do it, and you were just gonna call them and make sure they were gonna do the same thing that we drew out, or if they had a better plan.
I
It was
didn't
never
think it went that
approved, we
far.
just approved to get the bid.
That's all.
That's
That's
all
all I
that was
remember.
ever.
I would think that you probably have to get a number before you decide, or I'd hope that you, before you would commit
We do
to,
have a number
What?
from two different people.
where I didn't ever see those numbers.
Okay.
One was
That's
for
why we,
19,000 and one was for 40,000.
Oh, that's a
Right.
big difference.
And then Roby went out and done some figures himself, and I never did see those figures.
Well, I mean, that's,
they're here somewheres.
All right, we'll look at it.
That was my question earlier, had you got to look at that?
No.
Proposals and all that stuff, so we could move forward on doing it.
And we'll look at that, but whenever you see how everything is laid out, you got to pick and choose your battles and where you want to allocate money, especially for 2013. We got major fires. Not to say that that's not important, and I can't go back on if there was already something said, and then we're going to do it. We have to do it, but we got some serious expenses coming up. So best where you want to allocate your money.
Next person, Woody Trout.
I do not like strife and contention, and I do like fairness, and I think down in Unit 1, I have not been treated fairly. The Dunways were given permission, supposedly by the architectural committee, to rape land that belongs to the membership. And I want everyone here to go down in Unit 1 and see 1/3 to a 1/2 acre of land has been totally clear. He's headed for the creek, and that causes erosion. There are 18 trees, and we have numbered them, that have been cut. And they vary from 1 inch in diameter to 15 inches in diameter. That was the deer's habitat. They had little game trails through there. And he went supposedly to the architectural committee, which I do not think they are authorized to give members permission to cut greenbelt. The greenbelt belongs to the membership. That is not fair. And they're throwing out garbage out there, corn, food for the animals supposedly. And we have seen peppers there. Corn's not good for animals. It's not good for the deer. Deer corn has been, the game warden and the state biologists have warned the fort not to use deer corn. When Mike Stroh had it, they used a feed that had anthrax to keep the animals from getting anthrax in the feed. But I am concerned about this, and I want everybody to go down and look. One member should not be allowed to clear greenbelt. Also, I am being denied access to my property, which also, I know Jody says that wasn't a service road, but it was a service road. It was used by MUD. MUD can't get down there to check the meters now.
There are no meters down there, ma'am.
Huh?
There's no meters on that side of the green belt.
Yes, there are.
Well,
You go down there and look unless they have been moved, and the electrical company can't get down there. And if there was a flood, you're not fair. I'm sorry, and I am being pushed into a position to have a lawsuit against the fort for discrimination, for harassment, and for false advertisement. You advertise security, we do not have security. My house has been vandalized. You sent me, I have had people throw palm fronds over my fence. I have a mess to clean up down there. I have started cleaning up the mess.
You put your mess on our green belt. We took pictures of your swimming pool that was in your yard when we put a CCNR violation in.
That was where it was picked up before, Joe.
It was.
That's where it was picked, yes.
well,
We don't
That's
need to raise
where-
our voices.
well,
That was where it was picked up before. And you don't say it's discrimination. The community council went down there and instead of cleaning the creek, raped about 20 by 40 feet of greenbelt. You, Garland Young,
I didn't
cut down a
down.
tree
I-
that was
Whoa, whoa,
7
whoa.
inches in diameter.
let me-
And that has caused erosion. Yes, it has.
Let me answer that question. You accused me of cutting a tree.
You told me you did.
No, I said my
Yes.
chainsaw was used to cut a tree. I didn't say, because when I was recuperating from surgery. Now, you come in here and you're raising your voice to the board and stuff like this. And why don't you tell the members out there that the Fort Clark had to call the sheriff on you because you knocked over a post down there when they put it up to keep just golf carts in there. That's an easement.
I did not knock down the post.
pushed it
I
over.
was at school, sir.
Your mother
I was
admitted
in
to
Del
doing
Rio.
it. Your mother admitted to Bob Walker yesterday that she did it. Now,
Yes,
we don't
she-
need to go through this forum right here, right now. We can do it in a more consensus environment.
But
let's just
that's
calm it
not
down.
the post. It's dangerous.
It's a
dangerous.
two-way street, ma'am. It's a two-way street. We gave you a CCNR violation for the mess in your yard that the neighbors didn't do. And you and I had this discussion heart to heart. And then you throw it over the fence into our green area. Your swimming pool, your trash bag, your pond
That's
ponds.
where they were picking up,
Ma'am,
that's where they were picking
with all
up
due respect, ma'am, with all
you
due
want me
respect.
to take that over 100 yards? You need to provide an area for me to put that, that's where it was provided before. I'm sorry, that's enough.
Meet together in a different environment and discuss this.
No, there's nothing to say, we'll see it in court.
Sue everybody. Yeah, sue yourself.
I know, isn't it wonderful? Woody Honberg, do you have something to say?
Yes.
Okay.
This sounds sort of trite, but you know how I'm a stickler for propriety. Having been a former teacher, I want things done right. And that having taught rules of order to sixth graders who have conducted a meeting far, I would say, far more accurate than we are experiencing. Two members here, I have brought Robert's Rules of Order that you have, that has been designated as our rules. Now, two members here consistently are not following the rules. Some are, and I commend you for that. And I referred you to page 31 in the Robert's Rules of Order, and I have the book, and I'll be glad to loan it. All right, another thing that is proper, there was a preservation committee. It was way before this other started through the Historical Society. Now, if you're going to say preservation committee, please refer to it as restoration, because you are restoring, and it means the same thing as preserve, but the other committee had other, it was started by L.B. Beard, and is still in effect. We don't have a president as of right now. Another thing, when I say, Woody Francis was referring to this clearing of the land, I believe it was supposed to be clearing of brush. And brush, I think, is would be vines and things like that. There are trees that's been cut down. It's just like it's been cleared. And I think members should go and see it, because that's your green area. Now, members, Woody Francis and I have an invested interest in that property. So, yes, I did knock down my golf cart. The brake I was going downhill and hit and knocked it over, and immediately, I went to Bob Walker to tell him. I said, should I go to security? Now, I didn't think this was a big thing. The reason being I knocked it, it wasn't wide enough. I think it was a clearance of about 3 or 4 inches on each side, maybe 6, I don't know. But going through, I was going through at an angle, and I hit it, and I am sorry I hit it, and I did the right thing, and so therefore, but since service people, Woody Francis will be moving there. She's had the property about 3 years. She hasn't moved in there, maybe. And so I don't know exactly how long. But anyway, she has sold her property in Arlington, and she's in the process. There will be people who lay tile that need to get in there. There will be people, contractors coming in there to lay a floor upstairs, wooden floor. How are they going to get in there? When she moves, she has an antique piano that she's had renovated. All right, now, Janelle and the manager has offered to carry stuff for her. All right, I don't think they want to carry a piano in there, but there will have to be some common sense. Common sense. a person, according to state law, you must have access to landlocked property. The people before had it, whether it was legal or not, they had it. And therefore, the following members have that right. Now, I checked with, there's Larry O'Keefe, there's Felix Serna. Now, I am sorry that Ron Stewart is no longer here, but they could verify that they have told us that was a service road. They told us that. And so I'm sure that Felix, with his, he had a master's degree, he's had been, I think he was a wonderful manager. He had been manager in Eagle Pass. And he's been a guest in the White House because of his service and things he's done. Therefore, I think that these people know what they're talking about. So if they told us it was a service road, I assume it was a service road.
Okay, thank you. Cecilia Robinson?
Yes, this question is for you, Mr. Winchell.
Certainly.
There is something that is upsetting me a lot.
Okay.
You know, when I apply in this country for a job, there is a question in the application form, and it says, do you have any relative or family members working right now in this company? Why is this lady, Mrs. De La Cruz, still working here? If suppose Jody and De La Cruz are couples.
Yes.
I need an explication right now. This is not supposed to happen.
Go back to your original words, relative, and not relatives.
They are relative.
No, they're not.
They live together.
They're still not relatives.
So what are you waiting for? They get married only? Sign a paper? This is only a paper that needs to be signed.
I understand what you're saying, but you're saying...
No, sir, no. You are working for a short members, a group of people, not for everybody here in the fort. If this position is too much for you, there is the door. You know? That is very strange, and it's very sad to say this. But at the end of your lifespan, you didn't acquire wisdom.
Well, I'm sorry you have this problem with it.
What?
I said, I'm sorry you have this problem with me.
Yeah, I need an explanation why this continue working here. One of them must to resign.
No.
One of them.
No.
Yes.
No.
One of them. Explain, please. I need an explanation.
Thank you. 15-minute discussion period is over. Your name is not on
I'm
the...
sorry, I just wanted to give a compliment and redirect to maintenance. When I did put in a work order to have some brush cleared out, I took pictures of what these guys have to put up with. I bought a brand new thermometer. It went to 120 in the shade. Overcomes UV level 11 extreme plus. It went around to 160 and back up to negative 38 degrees. These guys are working in extremely rough conditions, and we're expecting them to be supermen. So, great job and kudos to the work department who are trying their best under extreme conditions to make our fort the place we all want it to be.
Thank you. Okay, it's 10:54. We're going to recess to go into executive session. Talk about contract agreements and enforcement action.
Yeah, I got one.